We start tonight with a live look outside at Elitch Gardens. Great place to cool off on a hot day like this. Another day, we are in the thick of summer, trying real hard to reach those triple-digit temps. It's hot for everybody, even the dogs. Look at these little pups cooling off in a bed of ice out at City Park Farmers Market this morning. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen joining us again this weekend. We were trying to break a record today. We got real close.
Close enough to tie it. So 98 degrees was the record high temperature that was last set in 2020. We've hit 98 on this day a few times. 98 once again here in the Denver area. That ties a record. That's the sixth time this summer that we've either tied or broken a high temperature record. That's been helping some storms fuel out here. We've got a big flash flood warning out there in Utah, and we also have one going on right here just to the west of Telluride on Highway 145. That's the same area that had the mudslide back last Sunday night. So that has a history of flooding. And we also have one single little storm out here to the eastern plains here that just dropped its severe thunderstorm warning. The hail was close to 1 inch out there in that one little storm. We have the clouds now over the Denver metro area, so the likelihood, even though there's still a chance we could hit that 99, I don't think that's going to happen with those clouds. And then we'll have another hot day tomorrow. We have middle 90s possible, low 90s likely here. We'll be talking about the hot streak that will likely continue all the way to the end of August here. Monsoon clouds, though, each day over the next 10 days will help take the edge off of some of that heat, but that will bring some flood potential back to the mountains for Sunday and Monday, Jenny.
She took my baby's life, so her life should be gone too.
6 weeks since a teenage girl in Aurora was killed in a shooting at a birthday party at a park. This week, we learned from police another teenager was the one accused of opening fire. 9 News reporter Evan Krugel sat down with Kamaya Cleveland's mom, who says that teenage suspect made an adult decision and should be tried as an adult.
Kamaya Cleveland should have just started her sophomore year here at Central High School in Aurora. Instead, her family has spent the past month waiting for answers after the 14-year-old was shot and killed.
Yeah, this is her peeling an egg in the kitchen.
Teenage girls provide plenty of entertainment.
She would not cook without that apron on.
A show
She loved that little thing.
Crystal Cleveland had a front row seat to for 14 years.
She's like, I don't know. She's like, I think I want to be a lawyer and a tattoo artist. I'm like, a lawyer and a tattoo artist.
But these jokes and memories are all Crystal has left after her daughter was shot in the backseat of a car while leaving a party at this Aurora park on July 6th.
I wasn't thinking about the suspect at first until I finally accepted the fact that my daughter was never coming home. That's when finding the person that took her became the priority, but I didn't think it would be another kid.
This week, police arrested a 17-year-old girl who they say killed Kamaya and injured 2 other teens.
I'm grateful that there's been an arrest made, but it's not enough. At this point, we need to make sure that she spends the rest of her life in jail. She took my baby's life, so her life should be gone too.
That teen is being charged as an adult and is facing 29 counts, including murder.
She made an adult decision. That was a very adult decision that affected a lot of people. My family's not the only family that's hurt. There were 2 other kids that were injured. There were, I don't know how many other witnesses, and they're not gonna be okay. She affected a lot of lives forever with her adult decision, so she needs adult consequences for that.
Crystal spends her days poring over photos of her daughter, who would have just turned 15.
That was probably harder than the day that I found out that she passed. I was celebrating her birthday without her. So that made it more real.
And while justice won't bring back Kamaya, the family is hoping they have some soon as they work to keep her smile and her legacy alive. In Aurora, Evan Krugel, 9 News.
On Monday, Denver City Council will vote whether or not to put a sales tax hike to help with affordable housing funding on the November ballot. Mayor Mike Johnston hopes to convince council members to pass this. The sales tax would add 5 cents to every $10 spent. The mayor says this would bring in $100 million a year for a city that's already short more than 40,000 affordable housing units. Some council members say they don't have enough specifics yet on how this money will be spent.
This is not ready to go to the voters, especially not without some sort of guardrails around it.
And we do not have a plan to be clear on what the money is going to be spent on.
So it makes me wonder if we really know what we're doing by applying this money in the way that, well, we don't even know yet where it'll be applied.
Certainly a lot of questions. However, if this does pass on Monday, the proposal would be on the November ballot. At the state capitol, Colorado lawmakers will meet later this month for a special session to deal with growing property taxes. This will now be the second special session in less than a year to try to deal with this issue. Earlier this year, lawmakers passed a bill that cut assessment rates, which determine property tax bills, capping how much property taxes could grow every year. But voters signed petitions to get two different property tax issues on the November ballot, which would promise deeper property tax cuts at the expense of some local governments and the state budget. Now the governor and Democratic legislative leaders say they have a compromise. They want to minimize property tax increases a little more and cap future property tax increases a little more. And then, if that happens, the two ballot issues would be withdrawn from the ballot.
Hundreds of thousands of people signed a piece of paper saying we want more property tax cuts. And so, okay, I get that. Let's find a way to do it.
I would say the citizens initiative process is a good check on the legislature, on the governor. And I think, I'm glad that it's being used more and more, given that I think the legislature is out of step on a lot of issues with the people.
That special session will be next Monday, August 26th. Take a live look this afternoon at Empower Field. Tomorrow, Broncos host Green Bay Packers, our second preseason game of the season and the very first one at home. Today, we're joined by Ashley Moore. Looking ahead, they won their first preseason game. Lots of talk about the quarterback situation. This is the time of year we get excited. We get optimistic, maybe a little unrealistic.
I mean, as you should be. Listen, about the Broncos, come on now. If they look anything like they did in joint practice yesterday, it'll be another week of us singing those praises and Bo Nix's praises as well. Sean Payton talked about it in practice yesterday. This is a much different team than the one we saw last preseason. No drama, that's the big one. Full buy-in and a quarterback that seems to be saying the right things at the right times. And he looks very comfortable in this offense. But his first test will be tomorrow, starting in his first preseason game against Jordan Love and the Packers. And Bo Nix is ready for the Bo Show.
Excited. I think it's a great opportunity. Get out there and get the flow of the game early and go and get a few drives in. And excited to roll with those guys and excited to be on the home turf. The first one is going to be a good time.
Now, you said it, the preseason, maybe a little too early, but these are the times where you get that clock management down. Just the little things, communication, tempo, and all those things help build winning programs. And it seems like the Broncos are on the right track right now, especially with Bo Nix.
Listen, it's always fun to be optimistic, right?
Absolutely.
It's good to feel good. Let's feel good for a little bit. Ashley, thank you. We'll see you back here in a little bit. Tomorrow's game airs right here on Channel 9. Kickoff is at 6. 9 News got you fully covered. We got a pregame show starting at 5:30, following our newscast at 5 o'clock. So we'll see you tomorrow. Today marks 25 years since the days crews broke ground on the new Broncos stadium. Let's take you back in time. 1999, on this day, Broncos owner Pat Bowlen, then Governor Bill Owens, they were all there when crews poured the first bit of concrete in the concourse, and then they worked clockwise to get this thing finished. Everyone had a different idea about the name back then, too.
It's the old Mile High or the new Mile High. They don't. People are smart enough to figure that out.
And I think they should name it the Stallion Stadium because our guys are the Stallions.
Call it the Rock of the Rockies because anybody's going to have a hard time when they come here.
I have other suggestions, and I've heard Elway Stadium, and I've heard I haven't heard Logan Stadium.
Lots of ideas. Stadium was ready to go in 2001. They first called it Invesco Field at Mile High, named for a sponsor at the time. Since then, they've gone through a few more name changes. They became Empower Field in 2019. Not just the stadium with a birthday this week. On Wednesdays, the Broncos celebrated 65 years. The American Football League, founded August 14th, 1959, Broncos were one of 6 teams given charter membership.